Dave, by showing up out here on my 50th. I said last night, this is almost like getting to experience your funeral while you're alive. It's unbelievable. If I had to do 50 over again, I think I'd die. I'd just emotionally run out. But you've heard so many stories about these guys. I haven't told you all of them. I want to take just a moment today so you know who everyone is. Dave was our golden boy. He led off 1950. He doesn't look that bad, does he? He's going to be 60 next year. I think we're going to wear him out. Dave, I idolized this guy. He was great at everything. You know, always had the good-looking girl on his arm and this type of thing. Idolized him, wanted to be like him, and then I got to, you know, I was 9 years behind him, so when I got to know him later in life, I decided I didn't want to be like him, but I still liked him a whole lot. No, Dave, you're great. Suze was our oldest sister, and I tell her the greatest thing she did for me is she married the new ball coach who came to town. I gave me a spot on the varsity for 3 years running. So good job, man. I always appreciate that. And then our second oldest brother, see, it's kind of these two guys were on the upper end. This is a guy I've told you about how I burned holes in my shirt by smoking cigars. He was the guy who was passing those out and stuff. Smiley, they called him. Phil has the biggest heart of anybody I know. He'd give a shirt off the back for anybody. He's the guy who drove Mom and Dad down to Georgia 2 weeks ago to see Jonathan's games. And just love Phil. He's my truck driving brother. And lived out in Tucson for a number of years, but love Phil. And then Carol was the one that died of cancer a few years ago. And then Ann was kind of stuck in the middle of everybody. She kind of belonged to that side, she belonged to our side. But she became my administrative assistant 3 years ago. Isn't that great? She's the one that planned all this stuff. I didn't know she was spending all her time doing that. I think we're going to take some of that pay away, you know? No, not really. She's great. Love Ann. Then Danny, my partner in crime, all through high school. He's a year older than me. He was the starting guard on the basketball team. I was starting forward my junior year with him, and then we played for my brother-in-law. And we just got a lot of stories. There's all kinds of stuff you're not going to get to see, and I'm not glad. But he can tell all the stories. But love Dan. I was his best man in his wedding. He's my best man in my wedding. And kind of in heart, we're each other's best men. I always say, you know, there were so many times I was wide open underneath, and he put it up from 25 feet. He always told me, I thought I had a better chance of making it from there than you did. Brother Donnie just surprised the socks me. He calls me at 6:30 Friday morning because, you know, he's always the first one to call any birthday. He always remembers. Well, I got to get going. A couple hours, you know where he called me from? The Phoenix airport. A couple hours later, he walks in here and he's great guy. Danny and I want to tell you, we beat on this guy. He was our punching bag. I punted him across the living room one day. For him to still love me, I mean, I think he still does. But I had to ask him to forgive me, so he said he has. So, love Donnie. And then these two down here got away with murder. They're the youngest two, Betty and Brenda. They did everything together. But we often just would shake our heads at the stuff they could say to Mom and Dad. We got knocked halfway across the kitchen when we said that. Well, you guys have gone soft on these two. What the heck? Betty followed me to Fort Wayne Bible College. I've always been glad of that. Loves the Lord and taught school and everything. But really, you know, all of us guys thought we were tough in basketball and everything else. She's probably the best athlete in the family. You go to Archmont High School, look at all the trophies, everything. Her picture's up there like 3 times for teams that went to state and everything. So I love her, but I hate her for that too. And then our youngest, Brenda, I'll tell you what, she's the baby. Always been, always will be. And we love Brenda. Just so giving. She's the nurse in the family, takes care of everybody, right? And she actually married a guy who's, I think Andy's here, but he was a Division I running back. So I just thought, Brenda, good job. You know, he got me some tickets and pretty good ball games. Married well. But we're supposed to do a number here, I guess, and so this is kind of what happens at the Rickner campfires when Dave's got his guitar and I pack the gut bucket in the car and we sit around the campfire and sing old gospel hymns. And so Dave, I guess you put it together with the family?
Well, we expected Calvin to sing the tenor part, but he says he can't do 2 things at once, which we had heard from Susan. It seems to maybe have affected the intimacy in their marriage. I don't know.
See, they keep my feet on the ground. You can see.
And we brought in Danny last night, thought he could sing the tenor part, and he said his voice has finally changed. So so we have 4 basses up here, if you imagine that. And Danny said to last service, he said, we had 4 bass parts and they're all different. So anyone out there want to sing tenor, want to join us? We need some tenor singing. We don't have a tenor in this group, but we'll make it work.
I'll fly away. I always say the sooner the better. So Dave, take it away. And you all just join right in, give us a little hand clapping, and it'll all go well. Okay, here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Would you be interested in sharing at our getaway retreat that we'll be having this summer? Cal said, sure. And he had the opportunity to preach a message. I think it was, what grade at that time?
I was a senior in high school.
Senior in high school. And those began your ministry years, starting there all the way through the Grayville Church and then right here at Northwoods. Let's watch the ministry years.